Pinocchio, the latest of these Disney live-action remakes that seem to be dying down, as we were getting 3 a year, and now we're getting 1 a year, and this one went straight to Disney+. A man named Geppetto, played by Tom Hanks, constructs a little wooden puppet boy he dubs Pinocchio. He is brought to life by the Blue Fairy, played by Cynthia Erivo, but in order to become a real boy, he must prove his worth. And he gets some help from Jiminy Cricket, played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who acts as his conscience. So I'm actually in an odd position with this movie. I watched the original 1940 animated film a lot as a kid, but I haven't seen it in a very long time. I was thinking of rewatching it before this, but I decided, let's just go into the film with the most neutral of expectations. I know film Twitter hates these remakes, and they certainly hated this one. As for me, they're half and half. I liked Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella, Jungle Book, and Aladdin. Didn't care for Dumbo, Lion King, or the Alice movies. Mulan I thought was meh, and I don't consider Maleficent and Cruella remakes. So how was this? I'd probably put it below the Mulan remake, but it's at least more entertaining than Lion King or Alice. It didn't get good reviews, most people seem to think the same thing. Again, except for the movie and animation snobs, they despised it. But most critics and people seem to say, good visuals and acting, but completely pointless. And yeah, like I said, I haven't seen the original in a while, but from what I remember, this is mostly the same. The biggest addition is this one character named Fabiana, a girl who works for Stromboli. I actually liked her. I liked her backstory, her friendship with Pinocchio. It's actually pretty sweet. Besides that, it's mostly the same. I mean, it adds a bit more to the story, maybe a little too much. It is a pretty long movie, almost 2 hours, although I will say it doesn't feel as long as I thought it would. And a lot of the additions are just there to have some pretty visuals. Pinocchio is one of those things that's very hard to do in live action because a living puppet is always going to look a little creepy. I never saw the Jonathan Taylor Thomas one, but I remember seeing the video at the rental store and it's scaring the shit out of me. They thankfully don't try and make him look realistic here. He is very cartoony. Also, the kid who plays him is pretty solid, gives him a very naive innocence. I like the way Jiminy Cricket looks, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt is great. Like, I would never have guessed that was him.
Now look here, just because a fella sneaks into somebody's house to warm his backside, and sure, he might have gotten kicked out of a place or two, but okay, you have a point.
Here's the thing. Do you know the difference between right and wrong?
You darn tootin' I do. I consider myself a bug of high moral standards, no matter what you may have heard.
Tom Hanks is great as Geppetto, and overall the performances are good. The production design is great, and there's a lot of Zemeckis' style in it. You can tell it's one of his movies. The visuals are a bit of a mixed bag for me. Like I said, Pinocchio and Jiminy Cricket look pretty good, Honest John and Gideon are fine, but the non-anthro animals look so bad. The seagull, Cleo the fish, and especially Figaro. Good lord Zemeckis, stop CGIing cats. Some of the green screen is pretty bad, and the scene where Lampwick turns into a donkey is not good. The scene scared the shit out of me in the original, and this, it feels rushed. In fact, despite its length, there are a lot of scenes that feel very rushed. The scenes with Geppetto and Pinocchio are over so quick that there isn't much connection, so the ending doesn't have the weight it clearly wants to. The more the movie went on, the more I realized that I liked the stuff it was adding, but when it was trying to do the scenes from the original line for line, that's when it feels weak. Again, I didn't mind when they did that stuff in Aladdin or Beauty and the Beast, but here I really did like it when it was adding something new, or at least putting their own spin on it. It also ends really abruptly. I had no idea that we were nearing the end. I thought there would be something added, and it's certainly different than the original, but when the credits rolled, I was like, really? That's the end? But I think its biggest sin is that it's mostly forgettable. Put it in perspective, I wrote everything you just heard right after watching it, and as I'm patching it up ready to record it, I realized I had forgotten pretty much everything in it. So yeah, it's not great. If you haven't liked most of these Disney remakes, I doubt this will be the one that you're like, yeah, that one was actually pretty good. For me, it's not the worst. I like parts of it, but it's just forgettable and felt like a way to show off some nice visuals and cinematography. So, I don't know, I give it a 5.5 out of 10. It definitely shows that Zemeckis has been more mixed in recent years, but I still do appreciate that he's trying to be creative with visuals and special effects. And he still hasn't made anything as bad as Beowulf. I don't know what he has planned in the future, but I hope he has at least one more really great movie in him. If not, he still gave us 3 of my favorite movies of all time. So that wraps up Zemeckis, so tomorrow we have one Alfonso Cuarón movie to talk about, and I'll see you tomorrow for that.